Hello, my name is Scott Davis. Welcome to New World Birth. This is the care and feeding of a New World Age report for the Gregorian date of November 6, 2015, and one Ak or dog in the Mayan Zolkin calendar with Venus entering Libra, the Scorpio New Moon, Mars also entering Libra, and Neptune turning direct. And November 6 is one Ak or dog with the themes of loyalty, playfulness, sensuality, teamwork, protection, generosity, warm-heartedness, guidance, commitment, justice, fidelity, consistency, family and friends, the faithful companion during times of darkness. And William and Viola of ZolkinCalendar.com write, the Yucatec Maya name for this sign literally means door, portal, or gateway, and symbolizes the journey we all make from one world to the other, not only in death, but also as we transform inwardly and rebirth ourselves. Thus, the dog is our underworld companion and guide through darkness, representing faith and loyalty surviving even after death. And I found that dogs seem to be associated with the afterlife across cultures where the dead are buried. I think this might be because they are scavengers who would dig up the graves, and when they consumed the corpse, they were considered to ingest the soul as well as the flesh of the dead. Anubis, the jackal-headed god of the afterlife in ancient Greece, was also portrayed as a black dog, and Greeks and Romans associated Anubis with the star Sirius, the brightest star in the sky, also known as in most mythologies throughout the world as the dog star. Cerberus is a three-headed dog who guards the gates of Hades, allowing people to enter but not to leave. The three heads represent the past, present, and future, or youth, adulthood, and old age. In Irish mythology, references to dogs were numerous, which means that they were an important symbol to the Celts. The dogs were also magical and could heal people by licking their wounds. In Norse mythology, the world of the dead is overseen by by a monstrous dog named Garm. In Hinduism and Buddhism, there are two dogs with four eyes each, which accompany Yama, the Lord of the Dead, and serve Yama by looking for those who are about to die. In Aztec mythology, the departed soul descends into the underworld after death and comes to a river guarded by a yellow dog. Guardian hounds occur widely in shamanic otherworldly lore. Archaeological evidence and mythology has reoccurring examples as dogs, as psychopomps, the guides on the path to the other world, which is the role that they play in Mayan mythology as guides who bear torches to assist humans in their descent into the dark underworld. This dog Trecena is a 13-day period is a great time to use faith and courage to illuminate any dark areas in our lives and share our warm-hearted guidance to assist others through the door that leads to the light. Before I get into the daily energy of one Ak or dog, on the 6th, all the planets appear to be moving direct from our perspective here on the Earth, with the exception of Chiron and Uranus and Pluto, which appear to be retrograde. And the themes of retrograde planets are review of the past, reevaluate, reminisce, and we can see these themes being played out. Chiron retrograde in Pisces is about releasing our stuck emotional energy so that we can return to the natural flow of life. Retrograde Chiron has us reviewing our wounds so that they can be released by having the courage to open our hearts and feel the pain associated with our past. When Chiron is in Pisces, people are willing to sacrifice their individual pain in hopes of finding bliss in universal consciousness. At worst, this can be manifest as folks justifying their victimhood as some form of martyrdom. It should be transcendence and surrender without losing ourselves in the experience. And then we have Uranus retrograde in Aries until December 26th. Uranus is seeking to shake our very foundation through the unexpected rebellion of the individual. Retrograde Uranus will have people wanting to hurry the process of getting free, to push the river of revolution, whether it be personal or political. And then we've got Neptune retrograde in Pisces, is seeking to transcendence through spiritual experiences. This is a time to use spiritual practices to keep us grounded as we expand our intuition and consciousness. And both Neptune and Pisces, the sign that it rules, tend to be dreamy, imaginative, and difficult to nail down due to their qualities of illusion, illumination, often without any way of knowing which is which. They represent compassion and codependency, selflessness and loss of self, higher purpose and substance abuse in their inspiration to transcend the material plane and experience something beyond words and thoughts. And this November, Neptune is at a standstill as we begin the month. But it will be turning direct on the 18th, the last day of the Trecena, which really brings spirituality and creativity, but also delusions, as the Lord of the Sea is at the peak of his power when he's at a standstill or a stopped position. Spiritual practices keep us grounded again, and Neptune pushes us to transcend the physical world and connect with our higher purpose and spiritual transformation, but again also encourages escapism, as some will seek unconsciousness while others to awaken. Neptune, particularly in Pisces, is difficult to discuss. Neptune brings a veil or a mask to what we see that hides its true face. Talking about Neptune is like describing a character from a dream. And each time we remember the character, we remember the memory of the character and not the actual character. Neptune is imagination, creativity, dreams, and is very elusive as it flows from illusion and fantasy in one direction to the sacrifice of individual ego in the search for a higher self in the other. The problem is that we often don't know which is which until some time has passed after the experience. Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces, the traditional ruler being Jupiter. Jupiter is connected with worldly experience and the expansion of consciousness to find meaning in life through religion, theology, and philosophy, whereas Neptune is spiritual and otherworldly, and as an outer planet, transpersonal, seeking transcendence. Neptune was discovered in 1845, just a few years before entering Pisces in 1848, which was also the year that began the California gold rush, which with its hysteria called gold fever. This is also was the time when Uranus and Pluto were in Aries, resulting in unexpected deaths through the misuse of gunpowder, the choice explosive at the time, and also lawlessness as people took what they wanted with violence, while Neptune in Pisces, under the Pisces influence and the gold fever spell. 1848 also brought the roots of spiritualism, beginning with Kate and Margaret Fox in Hinesville, New York, reporting that they had contacted a murdered peddler and demonstrating their communication with the spirit through rapping noises that onlookers could hear, making the sisters a sensation and increasing the popularity of seances and other forms of communication with the dead, which is really kind of interesting because they're acting as guides to the dead, as the dog psychopomps also did. So it's interesting to see this connection between Neptune turning direct during the dog Trecena. Neptune permeates the boundaries and heightens psychic awareness. Neptune in Pisces seeks divine connection that is not accessible through traditional religion, the realm of Jupiter. Neptune remained in Pisces until 1862, and by 1860, spiritualist churches had spread all over the world. Neptune remains in Pisces until 2025, just 2 years before we begin the next global cycle from a human design perspective in 2027. Neptune in Pisces, along with Chiron in Pisces, bring unconscious urges, escapist behaviors, codependence, as issues, as qualities to rise above during the next next 10 years. Chiron is the wounded healer, which also turns direct a little later in November and makes us aware of our past wounds so that we can forgive ourselves and others to facilitate healing. It makes sense that the ancient healing methods are becoming more popular, including marijuana being legalized for medicinal reasons as well as recreational use as of late. Ultimately, Neptune in Pisces is about compassion and spiritual awakening. Neptune dissolves boundaries between the mind and the body, the spirit and the form, life and death, you and others, you and divinity, revealing that all is one. The illusion of separateness is a construct of the mind. The quality, this quality is going to be interacting with a challenging square to Saturn in Sagittarius this month and into the next year. We've got Saturn in Sag. This is a limitation, borders, restrictions, and obstacles. And then we've got Neptune poised to dissolve reality. So we are now past the Uranus-Pluto squares that have upset the status quo that we have been discussing since 2011. Saturn and Neptune squaring off in 2015 and 2016 bring transits of transformation to the world. We believe is grounded in reality, and it's about to change as structures dissolve, rules vanish, people question what they thought they could depend on, as what's once seemed solid is washed away. Neptune can bring delusion and the desire to disconnect through substances to avoid the Saturnian hardship. The other way this may work out is the dreams, represented by Neptune, could over time, with effort, become reality, represented by Saturn. The Saturn-Neptune squares will blur limits, boundaries, structures, laws, security, responsibility, oppression, and government. So let's look at the daily energy of the Trisena. November 6th is one Auk or dog. It's about unity experience through enjoying family and friends in the Mayan Zolkin calendar, while we have Mercury in Scorpio in a trine to Neptune. So from our perspective here on the Earth, this is a 120-degree angle between Mercury and Neptune, which stimulates creative imagination and brings deeper sensitivity to the world around us. This is energetic, leads to daydreams and would be well spent listening to music or reading or writing poetry or romantic literature. Conversations will also not revolve around the practical, but will be more suited to discussions of otherworldly spiritual topics and or our fantasies, hopes, and dreams. Not a great day for accomplishing work, but wonderful for empathy, selfless compassion, with the offer to help others without interest in gain ourselves. This is also good energy for studying art, religion, music, poetry, spiritual and occult subjects, as we are able to transcend the limitations of our normal rational thinking. I'm not going to be covering the daily lunar activity in these reports other than new and full moons, but that information is available on the New World Birth Daily Facebook post and also on the blogger New World Birth blog. The 7th is Tu Shuin, or monkey, duality experience through creating something new in the Mayan Zolkin calendar. November 8th is 3 Ebb, or road, taking action through serving our community. And at this point, Venus enters into Libra, which is a sign ruled by Venus. So this is a happy place for the goddess of love. People focus on balancing their relationships with Venus in Libra. Being an air sign, Venus in Libra is more romantic than sensual. Certainly the scales bring about balance of aesthetics of Venus. People are caring more about their appearance, perhaps under this influence. This may influence them to create the right trappings or ambience for romance, such as an intimate candlelight dinner, or a beautiful poem written for a lover, or some other charming way to express their special love for their partner. Um, on the 9th, we have 4 bend or reed or corn. This is about stability through maintaining the home as the sun trines Chiron, which illuminates our past wounds to allow healing with positive energy and the desire to work through issues to find wisdom and understanding through our release of emotions that are no longer something we should be holding on to, something that we want to let go from, because it's a past emotion and it no longer serves us. November 10th is 5 Ish or Jaguar, empowerment through enjoying nature. And at this point, we have Mercury in a sextile to Pluto. So from our perspective here on the Earth, this is a 60-degree angle between Mercury and Pluto, which loves the mysterious and wants to know what cannot be known. Our minds are active in penetrating below the surface in a search for core knowledge, real knowledge, in our search for the truth. This is a great energy for studying psychology, astrology, occult subjects, and healing techniques aimed at regeneration. Folks may be more certain of their truth and engage in trying to convince others who are also certain of their personal truth, because this transit is obviously affecting everybody. So this pairing might be better to focus on our own investigation and save persuading others for another day. Also on the 10th, the sun is in a sextile to Jupiter. So from our perspective here on Earth, again, another 60-degree angle between the sun and Jupiter, which is very positive for almost any activity. It brings a positive frame of mind that can be applied towards success. This is a, quote, lucky transit. Influences activities to work out as planned, bringing feelings of abundance and confidence. It's great energy to be with friends, or work harmoniously in group situations, as there's a strong energy to be included in something bigger than oneself. This is also good to reflect on our lives and goals, but it does caution against blindly assuming that everything's going to work out perfectly. So we might want to review our plans for the future. With Jupiter involved, it's easier to see the big picture. This is also helps in relationships with people in authority, as there is a desire to be at one with the sources, all sources of universal energy. And on the most mundane level, that includes a desire to get along with those in power. And then on the 11th, we have 6 Man or Eagle, which is about being in the flow through seeing from a higher perspective. When we have the Scorpio New Moon, and here's another interesting parallel. Scorpio, of course, is the scorpion, but it's also the eagle. So we have the Scorpio New Moon on the Eagle Day. Anyway, the new moon is in a harmony with Pluto and Jupiter and merging with Mercury and the Sun. Pluto has deep emotional findings, emotions finding their way to the surface and felt on a profound level. Pluto is Scorpio's modern ruling planet, which wants to uncover the truth. And then the moon conjunct Mercury is positive energy for integrating our thoughts and moods. With this lunation in a sextile to Jupiter, the day brings good feelings and congenial social interactions. In Scorpio, emotions and passions are intensified. The new moon brings an opportunity to set an intention for manifestation on the following full moon. So you want to look at the house of your astrology chart that contains 19 degrees, 1 minute of Scorpio to consider what area of your life is being activated by this new moon. For me, this is my 5th house of children and creativity, so I expect this cycle to provide new information about my creative process and perhaps my relationships with children. This new moon has great energy for a fresh start, particularly related to a spiritual commitment and transformation as we become more aware of our authentic inner selves. November 12th is 7 Keeb or wisdom reflection through introspection, meditation, and forgiveness. And at this point, we have Mars moving into Libra. And which is Mars in its detriment, because Libra is opposite the sign of Aries, which is ruled by Mars. This placement could be considered where we might have fluctuations in the sex drive, as Libra is idealistic and favors aesthetic involvements where crudity is a turnoff. This may be a time when folks are more cultivated, have more of a desire for cultivated, sophisticated lovers, but also weighing the pros and cons of even getting involved. And then also on the 12th, Mercury trines Chiron, which will have folks being conscious of and talking about their wounds so they can continue their healing process. Both the planets in water signs, we gain a greater understanding of our feelings and the situations that provoke our emotions. Also on the 12th, the true North Node and true South Node retrograde back into Virgo and Pisces, respectively. The nodes change signs every 2.5 years, which brings a shift in focus. And in Virgo, the North Node is about increasing our awareness for our responsibilities for the planet and humanity through health, clean food, and organization. The 13th is 8 Kaban, or Earth. This is about balance through gratitude for Mother Earth, with Venus in a sextile to Saturn. So from our perspective here on Earth, again, sextile is a 60-degree angle. If Saturn harmonizes with Venus, we feel in a positive way the obligations of our relationships. There is a sense of duty, of being of service to our loved ones. People are more likely to hold group ideals above their own for a day or so. This is a day to be clear about our relationships based on concrete reality rather than wishful thinking. This would be a good day to sit down with your lover to discuss your relationship, where a conscious understanding can be reached about each of what each of you expect from the partnership. Remember, this is not they're not perfect, and neither are you. So move forward with your eyes open. Because of the focus on practical reality, this transit can be good for business dealings, and creative activities that require close attention to detail are favored by this transit. It may also bring new friendships and relationships with older people, or you may be the older person having a new friendship or relationship with a younger person. Also on the 13th, we have Mercury sextile Jupiter. So from our perspective here on the Earth, Mercury is forming a 60-degree angle with Jupiter, which brings our attention to the larger issues in life. Many will find that their minds wandering to thoughts about the future, as our hopes and wishes are more important under this influence. This is also good for thinking about the overall patterns in our lives. This is optimistic and brings a positive attitude. This is also good for business negotiations, contract discussions, and commercial transactions, as well as dealing with the law. Travel also benefits, and this would be good energy to start a trip or perhaps research some far-off place you wish to visit. Religious and philosophical subjects also seem more attractive for investigation at this time. November 14th is 9 Etstop, or Flint, in the Mayan Zolkin calendar, which is about patience experienced through being introspective. The 15th is 10 Kawak, or Storm, manifestation through recognizing the gifts in adversity. November 16th is 11 Ahau, or Sun. resolution through honoring the wisdom and the memory of our ancestors in the Zolkin calendar. The 17th is 12 Emish, or crocodile, which is about understanding through nurturing new beginnings. And at this point, we have the sun merging with Mercury, so they're at the same degree of Scorpio, which stimulates our social interactions and conversations, particularly with people who are part of our new direction. And in Scorpio, this could be related to the mysteries and the unknowable. Also, illumination comes to some dark areas of our minds, which can bring forward information that was previously in the shadows. This alignment emphasizes an increase in conversations, although folks are more inclined to talk than to listen. Being a conjunction, this brings the initiative to start something new, and including starting a new mysterious exploration that may have a business potential, as Mercury rules commerce and the exchange of ideas. This also brings a sharpness of the thinking process and a good time to make plans for the future. November 18th is 13 Eek, or wind, movement to the next stage through communication. And at this point, we have Neptune moving direct, which will not be noticeable for most part because of the nature of Neptune, particularly in its own sign of Pisces. I usually look at retrograde planets as operating on us internally and direct planets affecting our environment, which we need to respond to. So I don't see this as strongly with Neptune, although in direct motion, we're more likely to hear about Neptune subjects such as marijuana legalization or spiritual and occult subjects, and the dissolution of citizens under corrupt systems of government. So no matter what the energies that affect you during this one dog trecena, take some time to be in the flow of the planet by being in nature, watching a sunrise or a sunset, communing with the stars, or just being conscious of the moment through introspection, meditation, or being with somebody you truly love. Every day is a blessing, no matter what dramas beckon to distract us. We're all giving the performance of a lifetime on this world stage. Just take some time to observe the play as well as acting your part by remembering you're a spiritual being that's having a human experience. I want to thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of the care and feeding of a new world age will be on November 19th for one Akbal or night with Mercury entering Sagittarius, followed by the Sun entering Sagittarius, the Gemini full moon, Chiron turning direct. And you can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, or the Mayan Magics website, as I encourage you to share this information as videos or as text as widely as you choose. And I invite you to contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you got any questions or wish to schedule a reading. And I am providing readings and really do my best to make this service available to the greatest amount of folks. So I've created 3 options with 3 levels of compensation, and I haven't raised my prices in 3 years at this point. So they are competitive with other people. And so if you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me. I would love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You'll need to be able to either call me in Maine, in the USA, or we can connect with Skype to receive your reading. We're also accepting donations to keep these reports freely available. And you can make a donation by contacting me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com or get a reading. My readings tend to be pretty lengthy, lasting 2, sometimes 3, sometimes 4 hours in order to get you all the details that will help you. I use human design at every level to discuss the character, who is the person, and how are they designed to make decisions in this life. And then at the upper 2 levels, I look at astrology transits to talk about what's going on in the character's play. What are the scenes in the movie and what's coming up and how long is it going to last? so that you sort of get the human design is the character description of who you are in your life's adventure. And then the astrology portions are what are the scenes that are coming up, what's happening right now, what's happened just recently, to make sense of that. And then your lines in your play or movie are always your strategy and authority from the human design portion. As always, I'm blessed that you've taken the time to connect with my passion for these ancient mysteries and their application to our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste, in Lakesh, and great gratitude, and look forward to connecting with you in the future, whether it's in a reading, a future video, or an email if you've got a question. All my best to everybody.